Hi, welcome back to Smoking Cheltenham. I know what you're thinking. You're like, where is he now? Yeah, been relegated to conservatory again, and because of the decorating thing, everything's kind of upside down. So I'm just kind of sat in the corner in here now. It's getting worse. Next week I'll probably be in garage or something. I hope you're good anyway. It's a bit nippy. I've got my comfy jumper on. I love my comfy jumper. Comes out every winter. I'm sure the wife's got her eye on it. Like, it's one of them things. It's like gets harder to find every year. Just gets tucked away in a little corner of a drawer somewhere, like, you know. But it's still good. It's still here. Well, what a weekend again. It's just, this season is just fantastic, isn't it? Shock and awe. Thought was a good way to describe it. Shock and awe. Yeah, it was good. Right then, yeah, I've kind of turned the gain down on the mic because it's pissing it down. So I didn't want all that to come through, so I'm just hoping I'm come through loud enough for you there. Right, well, 2 flasks, definitely 2 flasks. This is over an hour, this one. I can, yeah, well over an hour. I'm thinking if we can keep it under an hour and a half, we've done alright, like, you know, so, but it's so much, isn't there? So yeah, we're going on a ramble. Pack your flasks, get comfy. Start with Friday. Ascot, 2 mile 3.5 maiden hurdle. If you remember, I said I had a little bit on this Welcome to Cartries. He were beat ahead by Beat the Bat. They were 15 lengths clear. Up there throughout, travelling and jumping well. He were joined 2 out by Beat the Bat. Them 2 came well clear. Beat the Bat just wore him down close home. I think we got done there by a kind of race fit rival, and I expect if they met again he'd turn the form round with him there. It was a nice run. I think he's a nice horse and I like him. He'll win plenty of races, but won't really be one for Cheltenham. But he is a nice horse, I think. I'll follow him. To Fairy House, 3 mile near enough maiden hurdle. Better days ahead. Justified short odds of 2 to 9 here, winning by 11 lengths. He sent straight into the lead. He took them along at a slow pace early. He was very careful early. That was understandable. That were nasty looking fall he took last time. But as the race went on, his jumping warmed up and got better and better. You could almost see this horse filling with confidence as the race progressed. 3 out, race was on. He went on 2 out. Great leap at last and stretched clear on the running. He's on to the Albert Bartlett shortlist. I think he's earned his place on there, and he looks like he'll be a nice chaser. Yeah, at this stage he'd be a contender there with plenty of others for the Albert Bartlett. 2 mile beginners. Mr. Policeman. Don't think Vega's shaking in his boots, is he? Yeah, he beat Food de Brazil by 3/4 of a length, with Pinkerton a further length and a half back in third. Rumanesco mainly took them along, but he tended to jump left, and he were consistently out-jumped by Fudu Brazil, who kind of shared the lead at times. Mr. Policeman settled in third. He got close to the first, and he were mostly okay after that, if a little slow. He weren't the quickest, but he were mainly okay. On the run to the second last, Richie pair went on. Mr. Policeman got right under that second last, and Fudu Brazil jumped it well. He again out-jumped his stablemate at the last, and he were best part of a length up, and Mr. Policeman just sort of quickened past him the last 100 yards or so. This were good from Fudu Brazil. He's a fine big looking chasing type, and he jumped brilliant here. I imagine ultimately he'll be an handicapper, but yeah, this were nice. A big improvement on his hurdles form, I'd say. Pinkerton's rated 136 over hurdles, and he got closer here than he did to Imagine. I think it's fair to say this was underwhelming from Mr. Policeman. I think Connections were expecting much better. I mean, we've had a point on this fella for the Turners at 20s. It's still 20s, I think, and I think he's crying out for another half a mile, to be honest. That's what I think. The other thing, maybe, he's not the biggest horse, is he? He didn't seem to grow much since last year. Maybe better ground could bring round an improvement there. It might be better on better ground. This was soft to heavy. So with that in mind, we could see a better improvement, a better performance if he goes to Leopardstown at Christmas and takes on the special one. I don't know if Willie'll throw him straight into that. I suspect he might for the ground, but maybe he'll like to step him up a bit slower. I'm not sure. At this point in time, I was pretty happy with our points on Mr. Policeman for the Turners at this point in time. Saturday. What a day this was, Saturday. Again. Grade 1. Betfair Chase. Yeah. Just going back a little bit. There were a lot going on this weekend. There are some races there. I didn't, notable performances. I haven't covered everything. Just looked into some races there and just give you my thoughts on those. And we've got a 10-to-1 bet for the King George, a 10-to-1 selection for the King George. Might be 8s by the time you see this. That's coming. Right then, yeah. Grade 1 Betfair Chase. Royal Piguet beat Brave Man's Game 6.5 lengths here. Protectorate jumped off in the lead. Walkwood at the first though, and Brave Man's Game soon took it up after that. Royal Piguet sat in third and Korak sat last. Royal Piguet tried to kind of press, I think it was the third, but he made a pretty bad mistake there and dropped back again. Brave Man's Game, he was out jumping his rivals here and he went on. Approaching the 7th, Protectorate took him on and went to the lead. He jumped well there, but then he got close to the 8th. He was big at the 9th, big at the 10th, and I don't know, his jumping just didn't seem right, did it? He was giving him like too much air. half a mile to go, he were done, Protectorate. That'd be. At this point, Royal Piguet started pressing for the lead, trying to kind of, a bit gentleman's gamey ride, weren't he? He just tried to apply pressure to Braveman's game from 4 out. He took the lead 4 out, he were length up 3 out, and after that, Braveman's game switched, didn't he? You could see he were done. Just maybe worth noting, this race, it was just 2 seconds faster than Famous Bridge over the same course distance, who was carrying, Royal Piguet carried £2 more. But Famous Bridge is only rated 129, so make of that what you will. Royal Piguet, he was second in the King George last year, and he looks a fair each way bet as things stand, I'd say. He's not the bet, but I wouldn't put you off backing him each way. It's kind of hard to imagine him winning a King George, isn't it? But he looks a solid each way bet. He does. Brave man's game. As I said Friday, don't know what he were doing here. Three weeks after the Charlie Hall. Don't know why we're here. I can say what I like, can't I? Because it's just us ramblers. This smacked to me like somewhere between greed and arrogance coming here. That's how I see it. I'll say it how I see it. I think he's done. I think he's done. I don't think he'll win a race all season after that. He was knackered at the end here. He said he didn't want to get into a war. He got into a war and he finished, I thought, on his feet here. I think he's left the King George behind him. And as far as preps go, this is a fucking car crash. I'm sorry, but it is. Don't know what he's done here. I mean, you know, after Weatherby, yeah, I thought he ran fair enough there. Onto King George, he'll take the beating, but this, yeah, it's fucking car crasher prep, it is. Game of opinions, isn't it? That's how I see it anyway. No disrespect to anyone. And I will say, to be fair, Paul Nicholls is the best in the business with getting these staying chasers back. Think of like Denman and Cato Star, the longevity he can get out of these. So if anyone can get him back, it's Paul. But yeah, my view here is this was a fucking wreck, and I could not be going near this guy in the King George. And it may prove me wrong, and it won't be the first time and it won't be the last, but that's how I see it. Okay. Correct Rambler, this were better from him. You know, bustled along from way out there, but he was third, beaten 15 lengths. He ran better. This was a step forward. As mentioned Friday, I see the Cotswold Chase. That might be his race. He'd be on my mind for that, definitely. Right. I'll go to Ascot. 2 mile 5, grade 2, 1965 chase. Pic Dory took this. He beat Straw Fan Jack 16 lengths. Not even watched this. I've seen the start though. But to be honest, I haven't seen the race yet. As I gather, he weren't actually all that impressive, Pic Dory. That's what Or kind of read, but I haven't seen it with my own eyes yet. And you can't beat that, can you? Shishkin, he just didn't fancy it, did he? Like, no, not today, thank you. Done. I won't fall over if at some point this season Nicky gets this fella and he looks a world beater. As I mentioned a while back now, he seems to get him right for one race a year now. He's got that many issues. I think he can get him right for one race and he'll look awesome that day. Maybe it'll come in the King George, but Jesus, he's got 4 weeks now, no prep. It's, yeah, I mean, no fault of Nicky's this one, but it's another car crasher of prep, isn't it? It is. I don't know. This game, it's just, you never know what's coming here. So, anyway, King George betting is just in disarray now, isn't it? It's just, it is. Yeah, I'll just move this down a little bit here. Right. Brave Man's Game. No. No. Shishkin. No. No. And they're the first two favourites. Then you've got Allaho. 4-1, I think. I don't think Willie will send him here. I think he's too precious. Maybe now. It certainly makes it more likely now after what's happened there at the front end of the market. But I don't think Willie's had this race on his mind at all, you know. I think he just wants that Ryanair. Is he going to risk it? 3 Ryanairs for King George. I think no. I don't think he'll come over. I could be wrong here, but I don't think he will. And even if he does, we still don't know, do we? We don't know if he's the same Allaho yet. He's only had a jog round there up to now. Certainly Allaho a couple of years ago, boom, I'd be all over him, like, you know, but I don't think he'll come over. And he's 4-1. Royal Piguet looks a solid each way bet. Second last year, beaten 14 lengths. This certainly looks weaker. Then you've got Lon Pressy. He's been out for a year. We haven't seen him for a year. Off an injury. It's just fell apart, this race. It has. Now, I must confess, I've been nibbling away there at Jerry Colombe on Betfair over the weekend. And, you know, I've got some nice sort of prices for this horse. And he's the bet. He's the bet. Jerry. He's 10-1. That 10-1 is going, I just checked again before I started this, and it is going 1 or 2 places left. So by the time you see this, it may be 8s. 3 points, 10s or 8s. Now, there is risk attached here. I think it's kind of 50-50 if he comes over for it, and I think it'll depend on the ground. If there's soft in the description, I think he'll come over, Jerry, for this. I do. If there's not, if it's like good to soft, good in places, I don't think he will. So you've got your risk there. Totally understandable. If you'd rather wait and see and take maybe 3-1 or something, maybe non-runner no bet after he's confirmed, if he is confirmed. I think you'd be looking at maybe 3s, not much bigger than that. So it's up to you. You take the risk at 10s or 8s now. He could go off 7-4. I don't know. He could go off favourite here if he lines up Jerry, and it's like soft ground. It's bouncing down how it is. But yeah. It's been on my mind. One of our ramblers, I'm sorry, I do apologise. I haven't looked back to name check you, but I do remember one of our ramblers there said a while back now he had a gut feeling that Jerry might run in the King George. And it's been on my mind for a while that I think Rob Court, they want to split him and Gentleman's Game up, don't they? They've not entered Jerry Colombia just for fun. They haven't entered him for a laugh. And they do want to split them up. I think they want to run Gentleman's Game at Leopardstown. Because last week, Gordon even name-checked the Cotswold Chase. And I'm like, Jesus, do not send him there. That's just... that does horses for the season, you know. That Cotswold Chase, every ground, you're done. I remember watching it last year and saying to my dad, none of these will win a race again all season. I don't think they did. Might be wrong, but I don't think they did. Yeah, you don't want to be prepping for a Gold Cup in a Cotswold Chase. This would be much better for Jerry. It would. If it was soft ground, I think he'll run and I think he'll win. He's not slow, and I think they'd get some kick out of that, do you know, because people are saying, oh, he's slow. It's like, winning King George, how slow he is in our light, you know. Glided round Aintree last year. Soft ground, I think he'd be fine. Yeah, good ground, you wouldn't fancy it so much, would you? But I think soft ground he'll be alright. We saw with Best Mate, even if he come up short and got beat here and ran a nice race in second or third, that'd still be a nice sort of prep for the Gold Cup, which is the one race Gordon's training him for. Be a lovely prep. I think he'll win it though, I do. It's just fell apart this race, hasn't it? There's nothing there, I don't think. I think Jerry can take this. I do. I do. Yeah. That's that. So... if it goes the way I'm thinking, we'll have Jerry Colombo over here for the King George, and the big race at Leopardstown will be a cracker. I think we'll have Gentleman's Game, Fast or Slow, and Conflated, which would be a great race. But yeah, 10-1 if you can still get the 10s, or even 8s, yeah, because that's... If he runs in this, I think he'll go off near enough favourite, and I think he'll win it. Huntington, 2 mile maiden hurdle. This were good for us ramblers, weren't it? Tell her the name. 4-5, smashed in to 4-11. Beat Lucky Place, 14 lengths. Jumped off in front, ran through the second, much better at the third. Flew the fourth. Went clear 3 out. Second last, had a good look at that hurdle. Good at the last, and impressive. Impressive. This is a really nice horse. Cheltenham, novice hurdles, No, I don't think so, but he could maybe be a runner. Aintree, maybe they'd like to skip Cheltenham and go to Aintree, and he'd give him a shout there, maybe. But he's a lovely horse, he's a nice horse for the future. And you do wonder how good is Django Bay. I think he's a Grade 1 horse, I do. Punchestown. 2 mile, 3.5 maiden. Predators Gold beat Mossy Fen Park, who cost 200k by 6 lengths. So I don't think this is bad form. Genton Genghis took him along. Predators Gold settled on the inside in 4th. Nothing much happened for a while. Jumping the second last, he was still 4th, around 6 lengths down. Paul asked him, swinging for home. He took a few moments to get going, but when he hit top gear, the response was impressive. He'd burst 3 lengths clear, jumping the last. He was there and he gave it plenty of air. He had loads left in the tank. He stretched nicely clear. This were really impressive. I've taken with this horse. He was impressive in the Jeff's Bumper last year. Jeff's Bumper. He's got, I'd say, a bit more speed than the usual sort of giggy horses, the usual model. He's got no point-to-point background, and I think this guy's a solid Ballymore contender at this moment in time. He'd be on the shortlist for the Ballymore. It's a nice horse, he is. Three Mile 2, Florida Pearl. This were a bit disappointing for us ramblers, this, weren't it? Favre de Champeau beat Sandor Clegane 14 lengths. There's quite a lot to unpack in this race, and that doesn't tell half the story, the bare result. Florin Porter took them along. Favre sat second, Sandor third, Affordale fourth. Churchstone Warrior came down at the second, but he still had a big part to play, didn't he? Florin Porter were going left-handed, and it kind of got worse as the race went on. He was continually harassed by this loose horse. Affordale weren't looking great, and Sam sort of shook him up 7 out. Poor jumped 6 out, and Sam had a serious look down, didn't he? At this point you're thinking he's going to pull him up, he's gone wrong. He dropped to 5th. Sam's clearly not happy with him, he's still looking down, he's having another look. 4 out, Favre de Champeau took it up, and to Affordale Fury's credit, he kind of came back into it at this point. Gutsy from him. Favre de Champeau just kind of went clear from here. Affordale dropped away again, and he ran right down the last 2 fences. Clearly something amiss here. Should have probably pulled him up in hindsight. Sandor Clegane kind of stayed on into a laboured second. So we'll take these one by one. Favre de Champeau did nothing wrong here. He travelled, he jumped, and he's on the improve. Could be one for the 4 miler. Gordon did name check that race, and it would look the right race for him. But he is a Gigginstown horse, and they're not in love with a 4 miler. So it might be Irish National if his mark's okay, which it might not be after this. In which case, I expect Gordon and Gigginstown will have the usual to and fro between the 4 miler and the Browns, and I don't know who will win out there. Gordon will want the 4 miler, I'd imagine, and I think the Ryanair boys will probably want him in the Browns because they haven't got much love for this 4 miler. So we'll see. Sandor Clegane, I thought this were a bit of a laboured effort on his part. As we mentioned Friday, Nolan's not in the best of form. I think Gentong Enki were quite fancied and he dropped away disappointingly, albeit after setting a fair pace. He's none from 18 in the last 2 weeks, and it's been a few weeks since a winner. Either way, in any case, I think time will show he's better. He's better than this, I think. Flooring Porter, poor old Flooring Porter. You'd forgive him this, you would. He was going the wrong way round. I think Gary O'Brien summed it up as he does succinctly. The loose horse, it just fried his brain, and he did. You could see it. It just fried his brain. But saying that, he won't be one for me going forward. He's going to be in the grade 1s now, you'd imagine. Leopardstown Christmas. Yeah, I won't fall over if he won there, but I'd be looking to take him on, I think. And certainly for Cheltenham, I couldn't really have him on my mind for Browns. That's just me, like. Affordale Fury, he clearly weren't right here, we should have probably been pulled up. The winner shows him in a good light here, because he did, to me, look a bit classier than the winner here last time out. He had that little just change of gear the winner didn't have. But you know, these are young horses and they improve at different rates, and it's fair to say Favre de Champeau is on the improve. It's just with the race kind of falling apart, it's a little bit hard to judge exactly how much he's on the improve. I wouldn't judge Affordale Fury on this. He's clearly better than this, and he did display some guts to get back into the race there when I don't think something weren't right, was it? Hopefully it's not too serious. You know, if it's not, obviously we might not see him again all season now, but if it's not serious, if maybe he twisted a shoe or something, I don't know. If it's not a serious thing, I won't be putting a line through him. As I said, the winner showed him in a good light here, and he'd still be a 4 miler Irish national contender. We'll just have to see how he comes out of this. So yeah, plenty to unpack in that race. The next race, I kind of went out of sequence here when I was doing my notes, but 2 mile 3 beginners. Gaelic Warrior beat, I know the way you're thinking, 15 lengths. Figure Up took them along. Gaelic Warrior sat second. Figure Up were jumping out to his left, and after jumping the 4th, Paul took it up, and what he did from there were astonishing, really. He just ripped the field apart. He did, didn't he? Awesome. But he did continually jump right from at least 7 out, and it kind of got a little bit worse the further they went. it were eased down between the last two. I mean, it were jaw-dropping performances. It were, weren't it? It were awesome. It were. I'd say after this, he's nailed on for Turners. I can't see him in a Browns now. I think, particularly when you take the tracks into account as well. This is on the other course to what he's disappointed on the last 2 years. And the pace he showed here mid-race were just, wow. Wow. I think he's nailed on to go Limerick at Christmas. At 2.5 mile, grade 1, right-handed, heavy ground, absolutely perfect for him. Perfect. Poor old American Mike. I imagine that's where he's going, and this fella's just going to destroy him. He'll destroy anything. I think, unless Allaho is 100% that Allaho we knew, this fella would destroy anything in that Limerick race at Christmas. Anything, any open chase that you want to throw in here, I think Gaelic Warrior would destroy him. I do. He's that good when he gets everything, his conditions. 2.5 mile, heavy ground, right-handed. And after that, I guess he'll be going to the old Moriarty at the DRF. This were another good weekend for Fassar Vega, it were, because I think he's nailed on Arkle now. I think that door's shut. It is. Willie's got Turner's horses coming out of his ears. He has. He's got this fella. He's got Mr. Policeman. He's got Classical Dream. And he's got Fact to File. And I think all them horses will be best suited at this stage. I'd be saying they'd all be best suited to the Turners. So, yeah, Fassar Vega goes Arkle. That's a done deal now. We're good there. I think we're good there. Mr. Policeman might not go Turners though. We'll see. We'll see, because that Moriarty will tell us plenty, because that's left-handed, isn't it? Right. Broke down his form here, Gaelic Warrior. Right-handed. He won a maiden at Tramore by 86 lengths. Yeah, 86 lengths. Then he won the Munster Hurdle by 15 lengths. He won the Grade 1 3 mile novice at Punchestown last season, didn't he? Looked awesome that day, won by 10 lengths. And then this, where he's just destroyed the field mid-race here. Won this by 15 lengths. Right, then we look at his left-handed form. Got beaten a Boodles off 129. Going right cost him the race. Won the Liffey by 4 lengths at Leopardstown. Off a mark which I didn't write down. I think it were maybe mid to high 140s. That was good, but he did shift right after the last, if you remember. He did go sideways after the last, but, you know, it was up against handicappers there. Second in a Ballymore, 6.5 lengths by impaired pass. Jockey reported he hung right. He's better right-handed, there's no doubt about that. If the Turners were ran at Punchestown, he'd be odds on for me. He would. He'd be a moral fucking certainty. But it's not, is it? I'm just not sure at Cheltenham because you know at Cheltenham he's not going to be as good, but how much worse can he be and still win? And that's your grey area you've got there, and that's a subjective thing. You kind of got to think, you know, I'd say 75 is a 75% Gaelic warrior still good enough to take the Turners? It's a grey area. For me, I don't like backing an horse for Cheltenham that I know isn't capable of running his best there. But like I said, if right-handed, 2.5 miles, he'd destroy everything. Open chasers too, I think. It'd be easier to judge him after the Moriarty. He's going to look awesome at Christmas, he is. Might be near that 86 lengths again. I think Turners, because of the track, so I could not have him on my mind for Browns, but Turners, you have to give him some thought there. He's 5-1 now. It is inside the hurdles track, so there is further to that rail, the outside rail on the right. Like, you know, if he won the hurdles track, it'd be a bit easier. He's not got as far to get to that right hand rail. He can get there after the last. It's just from the bottom of the hill. From the bottom of the hill, you'd worry. You'd have to worry. And there we are. So personally, I've not gone in 5-1. I think that'll probably be a fair bit short after Christmas time. Gut feeling right now is one I'm going to take on. Could change my mind after Leopardstown. I want to see him there, and then I'll decide. Right, yeah, as we mentioned, there were plenty of handicaps in this. I know the way you're thinking, ran second, handicaps, yeah, he's got a big one in him, I think. An Epic Song were beat 50 odd lengths. Martin Brazel, don't worry about it, it's Martin Brazel. You know, you read his form from last year before he won. he'll improve. He jumped left here a lot. Figure Rock went left-handed. I kind of liked him. He might be one for handicaps left-handed as well. Alright, that's that. No way this is under an hour. Hour and a half job this. Two mile 5 handicap, Ida's Boy. So a good result for his Ramblers. Took this at 7-1. He initially put in around there, then got well backed, and then the day of the race kind of eased back out. So the prices sort of were put in at. He beat Miles Harper 3 lengths. He sat second, took it up 7 out. Sort of shared it from 5 out. A fantastic leap 4 out, and he took it up. He was brilliant 2 out and the last, and he kept on well. No mention the Paddy Power, the 3 mile big 3 mile handicap at Christmas, but he was a bit concerned about his handicap mark there. He's won this off 142, and I'd say he'd maybe go up to, might get 6 or 7 for this, maybe 148, 149. I don't think that'd rule him out of it, but as I mentioned Friday, there is a suspicion this guy's best fresh, and I don't know if he'll build on this. He's a big horse, and sometimes these big horses they do take time to mature and strengthen up, and you know, as younger horses they need more space between the races because they're quite weak, and as a bit like Don Cossack, he used to need to be fresh, and then as he got bigger and stronger and filled into his frame, as he strengthened up, he could take his racing better. And maybe it'll be the same for this fella, I don't know, but there would be that question mark there. An interesting horse in third here, Coccolino, JP. This horse sat last. It moved up a place, going eye-catchingly well 5 out. Really poor jump 4 out, and then he seemed to get outpaced, but he stayed on nicely into third, beaten 5.5 lengths. This fella's an 8-year-old point-to-point winner, and he's always been well regarded. Once upon a time, this fella started favourite to beat Bob Ollinger. He did, in a bumper, but he did. On his chase debut, he was beaten, funny enough, by Bob Ollinger again, by 20 lengths into 4th. His jumping were poor that day, but he did shape with promise. Then he had a year off. He shaped with promise again, staying on to be a never nearer, well, beat a never nearer 15 lengths by Jerry Colomb. Came out again and went wrong. Had another year off, and he's come back this year. He reappeared in a 2-mile race. He was staying on there when he fell 4 out. He's got handicap marker 129, this fella. Yeah, and then he's come on from that to this race here, beating 5.5 lengths. He's crying out for 3 miles, this horse, and he might be better left-handed. He's only raced twice left-handed, and he's won from 2 left-handed over hurdles. He's never raced left-handed over fences yet. Crying out for 3 miles. He could be one maybe for that Paddy Power Christmas race, but he might just struggle to get into it. He's rated 129. Last year the bottom rating were 130. JP does like that race, and he'd be interested if he creeps into that. It's clearly a risky betting proposition. His jumping leaves a lot to be desired. It does. You know, it's caused him problems, but I'm sure stepped up to 3 mile, he's got a big race in him off that marker 129, so I think he's one to keep an eye out for. Two mile grade 1 Morgiana, State Man. This were good for his ramblers, weren't it? As well. This were like the landed the second last leg of that double there. As I suggested, well back 1 to 3 into 1 to 6. A nice double that one. Just felt like stealing money, it did. Yeah, he beat Echoes in Rain 5 lengths here. Feed the dairy, took them along. State Man kind of took it up between the last two, gave the last plenty of air. He did this well, I thought. He looked fat. I thought he looked fat here. He'll come on loads for this. I thought this were good. I know he were 1 to 6, but I thought he were good. I think Paul rode him with a load of confidence here. You know, be easy on a horse like this, 1 to 6. Just kick him on. Don't take any chances. Kick him on. You know. with a mile to go even, but he didn't. He just sat and he sat and he sat and he waited and he waited, and that to me, he had trust in his horse that when he asked him, he was going to go, and he did. And I thought that was impressive. I think maybe he might just be a touch better than he were last season. I thought he was good here. And certainly at the moment, if this fella and Impaired to Pass faced off tomorrow over 2 mile, I'd be on his side. I think Impaired to Pass has to come up to his level. I'm not saying he can't, he might do, but at 2 mile, definitely, State Man, you know, Impaired to Pass has to come up to his level. So that's Saturday. At least one to Sunday, and we haven't quite got to an hour yet. 2 mile 6 maiden hurdle. Shannon Royal beat Tully by 24 lengths. Tully went off 1 to 8 here. Yeah, not so good for us ramblers, because I did have a little on that Tully double reimagine. I think 2 to 7 and 8 to 13 or something. But 1 to 8. I mean, I was saying to a fella before the race, Jesus, if someone gave you like 10 grand, he had to stick on a horse, would you rather back this guy at, like, he was 1 to 10 at the time, or State Man at 1 to 6? I mean, it was a silly price for an horse that's never jumped an hurdle. But anyway, Tully, he were left at the first, he were keen. Paul were trying to settle him. He kind of charged at the 4th. He went left 5 out, left 4 out. Well, he was still tanking. He charged at 3 out and he hit that hard. He were better 2 out, but then he started to empty, turning for home. He were just far too keen here. He ran with the choke out the whole way. You just can't do that. Nailed on to be dropped to 2 mile next time. He's not turned into a bad horse overnight. He just over raced the whole race here. You can't do that. You'll drop him to 2 mile next time and try and teach him to race. Hard to know what to make of the form, but the winner looked to do it well and is well regarded. And you'd throw him onto Albert Bartlett's shortlist now. We'll know more next time. Shocking awe. Grade 2, 2 mile Craddockstown novice. Imagine beat Lucid Dreams half a length here. 100 to 30 on. Another mad price, I thought, but yeah. Uncle Phil led. Good jump from Imagine at the first, sat in second. He were a bit outpaced with 2 to jump. A great leap there, took him into the lead. He were headed at the last, but then he got on top again the last 50 yards. I think this were a better performance than maybe he'll be given credit for here. So I think his SP was silly. Up against 2 much more experienced rivals here. And the seconds rated 140. Imagine we're 136 over hurdles. I think this fella's a natural jumper. He jumped well. And I think he'll improve plenty for an extra half a mile. As I said before, I think this fella's, I feel like I've got an handle on him. He's going to be one of them grade 2, grade 3 sort of mid 150s horses. He'll win plenty of races. Gordon did mention here, he mentioned maybe Kempton at Christmas, and this is where he kind of name-checked the King George for Jerry. But he did say, to be fair, he says, I might change my mind 10 times yet. But, yeah. Right, you're just going to have to give me a minute. It's a long video. I've had a lot of coffee. I'll be back 1 minute. Apologies. Let's be honest, the production values, well, they're in any, isn't they? It doesn't matter though, does it? It's the content that matters, and hopefully there's a couple of things you can take away from these videos at least. Right. What we got next? Oh, just the 2 mile 3.5 grade 1 John Durkin. What a mad season this is. We're not even in December yet, and it's just unreal, isn't it? Right. Fast or slow, beat Appreciate It by half a length. Galloping a further length and a quarter back in third. Nine to 1. Talking about Galloping, raising these doubts, and it all come to fruition here. It's one of them shoulda, woulda, coulda, isn't it? I didn't think Fast or Slow had this much pace though, to be fair. So, but hey. Right, Appreciate It. He jumped off in the lead. Statler sat second, Fast or Slow third, Galloping fourth. Galloping was sketchy early, over the first 6 at least. He got a little better after that. He were in the Gold Cup though, weren't he? We did mention that he were. 4 out, they dropped Statler, and Fast or Slow and Galloping moved up into second and third respectively. Blue Lord kind of briefly joined in on the turn for home and jumping 2 out, and then went somewhere again. I didn't notice where he went. JJ got a great leap out of Fast or Slow at the last. He got up the inside, didn't he, of Appreciate It, dropped his whip, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. He got up there on the run-in and hit the line hard. Galloping, he came there with every chance. Halfway up the run-in, when he weren't getting there, Paul Wheezy enough on him. This were brilliant from Fast or Slow. It surprised me, and I love this horse. I did with that day at Punchestown, 66 after timing and all that. But yeah, he surprised me. I didn't think he was this fast. He was faster than I credited him for. I love that Martin Brazel has a proper grade 1 horse. I mean, it's brilliant, and you know, it's all Willie Mullins, Gordon Elliott, Nicky Henderson. Martin Brazel, love him. You know, number 6 Valverde. Had some good days with his horses, and I like that he's got a proper grade 1 horse here. I imagine, I'm sure it comes out of this alright, he'll be on to Christmas next, and he's a huge player for the Gold Cup. And if he meets Gentleman's Game and conflated there, that'll be a good race. Appreciate It, get him in Thyestes, Willie. 151 last time I looked, anyway. Get him in Thyestes. He's not listening, is he? Galloping. I won't be writing him off, but he were sketchier early, as he was in the Gold Cup. The Gold Cup is nearly a mile further, but as I said previously, I wondered if he's maturing a little quick, and when horses start that kind of downhill trajectory, they lose, the first thing they do is they lose the pace. Hence, as they get older, they tend to step up in trip. I mean, look at Shishkin. And I think that's kind of what's happening to him here, and it's how quick, for how long then, you've got a short time period where they're still at that top table. So he's just lost that pace. But the worrying thing here, I guess, is it's the first time I can remember anyway where he's not hit the line hard. Always hits the line hard, and he didn't here, did he? That would worry me. As I said, I'd judge him after the Irish Gold Cup. I think, you know, the trip there will suit him much better now that he's kind of losing this pace a bit. He's great horse galloping. I wouldn't fall over if he won the Irish Gold Cup, but gut feeling is, I mean, we were kind of against him, weren't we? And you can't say we've seen anything there. I mean, for us ramblers, this is pretty good. As you know, I love galloping, but you know, he's not going to win the next 10 Gold Cups, is he? You know, he's been a brilliant horse. Maybe he's still a brilliant horse. Maybe he can win an Irish Gold Cup, and maybe he'll win the Gold Cup again. But you know, for us ramblers, I mean, we're looking in good shape here. We've got 3 points on Jerry at 8s. We've got a point on Gentleman's Game at 25s. And we've got a point on this fella Faster Slow at 20s. We're kind of taking these up and coming young chasers. Not quite sure which the best one is yet, but we've got a lovely platform there to build on. I think Jerry's 4s now, Faster Slow's 5s. Maybe a bit of 6s. Gentleman's Game still 25s. I think that's too big. I'd have him sort of 12s, 14s. I would have him third of the 3, but I think he's overpriced. Wouldn't really like to split Jerry and Faster Slow, but we can see, can't we, as the season goes on. We've got them nicely covered. Maybe just that hill at Cheltenham, that climb from last. Maybe it'd be Jerry. Maybe it'd come down to the ground a little. I mean, Faster Slow showed some pace here. Maybe sort of softer ground you'd be favouring Jerry, and maybe better ground, maybe Faster Slow. Maybe it'd be like that. Yeah, I don't think so. I've missed there. It's on to Cork. Right, we'll do the 2 mile maiden hurdle. This was an interesting race. Reading Tommy Wrong beat Lisnagar Fortune. Be a short head. He went very slow early here. Tommy were kind of up there throughout. Lisnagar settled on the inside in 5th-ish. Tommy jumped to the front 3 out where he went left. He again went left over the last 2. Lisnagar kind of threw down a challenge after the last, and it got very tight at the line. And yeah, it did. Tommy is reading Tommy Wrong. He's a huge horse, isn't he? won 2 bumpers and a 2-mile hurdle for horse his size. He looks all over a chaser, and surely he's going to be better left-handed too. So all things considered, this were good. He looks a promising horse for the future. More next year's horse. You know, you won't be having him on your mind for Cheltenham. But yeah, he looks a promising horse going forward. This were much better from Lisnagar Fortune. He kind of settled better here. He did. He's maybe learning, maybe the penny's dropping now, and this was his first run, so, you know, a bit more freshness first time up. If he can learn to settle, he's got an handicap in him up in trip. Yeah, he'll have qualified for his mark now. Be interesting to see what he gets. It's quite hard, I think, to rate, but he can't be a big mark he's getting. Walk Away Harry, we've got to give him a mention. He's screwed the first. I don't know what he did at first. He kind of jumped it sideways in A. Well, and he missed 4 out as well, but this were much more like it, and he stayed on into 4th, beaten 8 lengths. He won a good Punchestown bumper last year. Charlie Burns. 1 more run for a handicap market, and what do you rate him? He's oh wow. Yeah, he's got to have handicaps in him up in trip. The first one he contests, he'll be like 4 to 6 or something. The bookies won't be taking any chances. But yeah. Right then, we've gone through it, haven't we? But we are on the last race now. It's certainly not the least. Last but not the least. 2 mile 5 mares, beginners. Alcudetabbet beat Feddens by 20 lengths. Yeah, just the 20 lengths. Led all the way. This, do you know, this, I watched this, you could see it, this was a brilliant educational ride from Jordan. It just were, he got her in close at some, you know, when she were clever at them. You know, he kind of taught her to pop a bit. He saw her stride 4 out, asked her, and wow, did she come up for him. She did, didn't she? That was spectacular leap. She poured it on from 2 out and just sort of powered clear after the last under hands and heels. She come on plenty for this. I think she might be a shade better going left-handed, which is alright, isn't it? She's a cracking mare. She's a cracking mare. She's exciting, and she sent us ramblers home happy this weekend, didn't she? I think she's a top price 14s now for that mare's chase, and we've got some nice tickets there, and we'll have some fun with that. Yeah, she's good. She's good. Yeah. Performance of the week. It's got to be fast or slow. It has. I love him. He surprised me a bit here, and he's a big Gold Cup player. He is. That were good. That were good. He's got to be better at 3 mile as well. Yeah. Martin Brazel. He's got a proper horse here, hasn't he? And then closely followed by 2 novices. Yeah, and you know, Gaelic Warrior. He were just fucking explosive, weren't he? He were. And our very own Alcudetabbet. Yeah, she's exciting. She's a serious mare. So, right, surely it's going to quieten down now. It's got to, hasn't it, after these last few weekends? No. This weekend we've just got Newbury's Hennessy meeting, the return of Constitution Hill and Fairy House's Winter Festival, featuring the Hatton's Grace, the Royal Bond and the Drinmore. Do you know, the world might be going to shit. There's some dark things happening, but in our little racing bubble, our racing bubble's awesome, isn't it? It is. It is. What a season this is. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's our ramble completed. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some winners this weekend. I'll be back again Friday. We'll have a look at the weekend's racing there. So, yeah, all the best, and I'll see you Friday. Bye.